Hi everyone. Today I want to talk about stoves. As some of you may know, I've been wrestling with this for over a year now. And I have had quite, as you can see, I've had quite the experience with these stoves. I would like to just talk about them for a little while with you. As you know, I should include cold soaking as part of this, really. I mean, because we're talking about trail food and how it pertains to your system that you design for yourself. But primarily I want to talk about stoves. Here a stove, there a stove, everywhere a stove, it seems anyways. To me, there are three big players in that area. And I don't know, well, I shouldn't say that because, okay, I have three of them and I have tried more, but so let's just start with the different systems that I've tried, the different stoves that I've tried. I bought this MSR system about a year ago, and I tried that for a little while. That didn't last very long. I really liked the size of it. It was great. It had a cup that's very nice, actually. I think it's actually better than the one that comes with the Jetboil. Very small, however. But the one thing I hated about this system is this little clamp. You have to clamp this on to hold it, and it's just not. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. For me, it wasn't friendly. You know. I do like the way it nests, though. This is a nice system, and this comes with the. Where did I put it now? It comes with its own stove, which is a nice. It's a pocket rocket mini. This particular stove is has no regulator, but it does have a nice little windscreen. It's got three little things here, which do help. You know, you may think they don't, but they do. They really do help. So again, this particular stove has no regulator, so it's just on or off. It's a very, very nice stove. I've used it extensively. It's fairly heavy, you know, comparatively to I believe other stoves. But you know what? We're going to test it. So this particular stove comes in at. I'm going to pull out the other ones just so we can do our comparison while this is booting up of all the stoves I have. But yes, this one here. Let me just close this down a bit. Folds down nicely. This stove folds down pretty small. The stove by itself weighs, 73 grams. When you compare that to other stoves, at least stoves that I have. Now I don't have I don't know why I don't have it around the house. I can't find it. My Soto Windmaster. Then we have another stove that I have, which is a Jetboil that comes with the Jetboil stash, and I believe this is their lightest stove. But somebody can correct me on that. And these should open up. Oh, that's tight. Why is that so tight? I've been using this lately quite a bit. This is great stove. It's got a really big top side to it. Bigger if you compare it to this. I mean, this puts off a lot of heat. Very efficient. And this one weighs in at, what was the other one? 72, right? And this one weighs 58. So automatically you're saving 15 grams on between these two. And both of these, like stoves, either of them have a regulator. Number 3 on the list. This is called a BRS 3000T. When I bought this one, you couldn't get them on Amazon. You had to get them from. Well, I got mine on AliExpress. They're very cheap. I think I paid, I don't know, $20, $25. Again, this is the tiniest stove ever. No regulator. Again. And very small footprint. So when you're putting a pot on here, be very careful. I have seen them tip a lot. And this stove is not very efficient. So let's weigh this one. And this one here weighs 26 grams. So this by far is the lightest stove. It's 31 grams lighter than the Jetboil. And it is, what's this one weigh said? 72, 26, do the math somebody, 46. 46, this is 46 grams heavier than this. You can almost have 3 of these for one of these. And last but not least is my, the biggest one, and probably the heaviest one, which comes off the Minimo. Now this is another Jetboil stove, and I only include this and have 2 because they're so radically different. I mean, it's obvious. And again, it has a big burner, but really this Stash has the biggest burner going. And let's weigh this one just by itself. I expect this to be terribly high. Yeah, 132 grams. So this is over a quarter pound by itself. But let's just qualify that for a second, because it does have a regulator in it, and it's actually a very, very good regulator. This is my latest purchase. I had one a year ago, and I blew it up. I can't remember what happened. Oh, I do remember what happened. I forgot to put the adapter. I forgot to put this thing on the actual stove, and I put a pot on there, and it melted the stove. Won't go into that. But anyways, yeah. So right now I'm wrestling with these different stoves, and again, my Soto isn't here to compare to, and neither is an alcohol stove. And there's a reason for that. I've excluded the possibility of using an alcohol stove for through hiking, because there are sections of the trail, at least the Appalachian Trail, after investigating, that just don't allow it. They don't allow alcohol stoves. Some places, you can go into some of these shelters and you'll see burns on the floor. That's where somebody actually spilt an alcohol stove. It's near impossible to put out the fire. Once that alcohol spills out onto the floor, it's very difficult to douse those flames. And so I can kind of see the concern that different sections use, different parks and different associations for having that rule. So that immediately made me have to kind of discount, like not even consider alcohol stoves as an option, a viable option for cooking. And I imagine, and I don't know about this, but I don't believe officially on the AT the little wood stoves are banned. However, I just don't want to go through all that. I don't want to have to assemble the stove and then the windscreen and go through all this. This just becomes a logistical nightmare for me, and it's more time than I want to spend. For me, the beautiful part about canister stoves are that they you just put them on, fire it up, especially this one. I mean, it has a lighter in it. I mean, I'll still bring a little mini Bic, just in case, or some matches or something. But so this is why I've been, I'm going to go out probably next week and test this out and cook with it and see how it goes. But as you can see, I have literally gone through. I mean, this is my Toaks 900. I got this in a wide because a little sponge because it fit the bigger canister. This is something to consider. Then I went down to a 750 Toaks, which obviously now won't fit the bigger canister, but I didn't care. My idea was for through hike, and I used this for a long time, quite a lot of hikes. And what I would do is I would use this with the BRS with a little cloth, and I would even bring my my little Sea to Summit cup, and I would put it right on top like that, and it would fit into its little bag here, which I used. I think probably if I was going to go on the through hike with it, I was going to just take an elastic band and wrap it around. I was set on that for so long. But what really discouraged me from that, to be honest with you, was the BRS itself. This is not an efficient stove. I'm telling you right now, this stove sucks for efficiency. I think like a canister this big, for just to just to compare, both the Minimo and the Stash will boil 12 liters of water out of one of these canisters easily. Literally, I did 4 boils with this, with a full canister, and I weighed it before I left too. And this pot, the 750, and it was empty. The canister was empty. 4 boils. So if I'm out on trail and I'm out, you know, say for example, for I don't know 4 or 5 days between resupplies, I'm just not going to have enough. I would actually end up having to bring 2 of these. That just made no sense to me. So that, you know, counting grams and saying that this only weighs 26 grams, that's great in theory, but if I have to carry another 100 or 150 grams in a canister just to make it through that 4 or 5 days, what did I really save? You know, plus you've got a weaker stove. I don't have the specs in front of me, but I mean, this doesn't put out the BTUs that the Pocket Rocket does, or even the Jetboil. And this is a good stove, actually, really good stove, the Pocket Rocket 2. And I bought that cook system as an answer. I mean, that was my progression. You know, I bought the Jetboil, I blew it up. Then I went to the Pocket Rocket, and I bought this whole, you know, cook system here. And then I just found it was quite heavy. It was, you know, but it nested nice. It did everything nice. And then I kept looking, you know. Then I started going with the different Tokes and the BRS. And now I've gone full circle, and I'm actually back to Jetboil. And I have a couple of them here, as you can see. I've been using this one for a couple of months, the Stash, and it's great. It's fantastic. The only reason I'm now looking at the Minimo is for the regulator, is for the ability to cook. And because these are so efficient. I mean, if you can boil 12 times, 12 liters, which is like what, 24 boils, if you use 500 milliliters per boil, certainly you can cook for, and I think they said 3.5 hours of cooking. That would cover all my needs for, say, almost a week. Because if I'm cooking, I wouldn't be cooking for longer than 15, 20 minutes, 2 minutes of boil. It would be close. I mean, you know, my canister would be empty by the time I left, but, you know, that being said. And then there is the other option, of course, too, and that is that I have the freedom to put this in, to actually bring a bigger canister if I want to. Now, I can't fit the stove in with it. I would have to put that somewhere else, but at least, you know, there is a way to nest some of it. So these are things I've been thinking about. I don't know which way I'm going. I do know that I'm going to go out for an overnighter, or maybe a couple days. We'll see how the weather holds out. It's really cold, so that it's going to give me the opportunity to put this to the test. And that's the system I'm bringing. Am I going to bring the cover? Because, you know, we all want to trim weight. You can't, see, for this to weigh, it's advertised 14.6 ounces. You have to exclude both the stabilizer and the bottom. So their website's wrong. They say it weighs 14.6 with just taking the stabilizer out. Not from my experience. I mean, anyways, this scale is pretty accurate. It's a digital scale, but I still think it's accurate. So yeah, these are the different stoves I've had and gone through and tried, and honestly, they each have their pluses and their minuses. You know, if you're going for an overall stove and don't require something to cook with, I would say BRS or the MSR Pocket Rocket, or the Soto Windmaster, which I don't have one here. I don't know where it is, where I put it. I tried to find it, but anyway. Soto Windmaster is a very good stove. It's in between the weight of this one and this one. It's, I think, around 90 grams, 100 grams, so it's quite heavy. You can get it in both, one with a regulator and one without, I believe. Somebody can correct me on that, but anyway, that's not the topic of this. I'm just kind of trying to decide what I want to do. One thing's for sure, Windmaster MSR, the Jetboil is still the most efficient. It's going to give me the longest cook times. So I'll be, and these are heavy. I mean, these are heavy. This thing right now is at 3.9 ounces. Gross weight is 7.4 ounces, 211 grams. I mean, you're adding 7 ounces to your weight. Do you really want to add 2 of these just to? So this to me is useless. I don't know what I was thinking at the time, but I had to get it out in the field and I had to try it. And I figured, what the hell? It was like 20, 25 bucks. I can't remember, but so it was a no-brainer for me. But for now, right now, I'm going to try the Mini-Mo, and failing that, then I may do a combination of the Stash and the Mini-Mo. I could maybe take the pot from the Stash, but bring the stove, the actual stove itself, from the Mini-Mo. However, the Mini-Mo is bigger than this, so it's going to be nicer for cooking. I really do prefer the handles on the Mini-Mo. This here, I mean, I'm sitting there and I drink my coffee, and it's kind of awkward. These are the same width, same size, so they'll both fit on any stove I use, especially if I bring this attachment, which I don't want to on trail. It's just added weight. Why would I do that? But I have no choice. That's the thing. You see, I have no choice with this stove. It has to just sit on top. And this, I think, is the only stove Jetboil makes where it doesn't lock into the stove. This will not lock into this. See, it'll sit on top, but you have to have the adapter. This is all weight. This is all something I'm going to consider later on. But one thing I have decided is I am going to cook on trail. And now whether I cook all summer, I'm not sure. Come June, July, I might cold soak for the last few hundred miles of the AT. So, I mean, anyway, these are some of the thoughts I'm having. As you can see, I have a conglomeration of stoves. And, I mean, it's crazy, I know, but that's what I do, right? This is what I do all the time. So, and it's good to have them all on hand. They all have their uses for different places and times, and so I will keep them, but right now I'm trying to decide what to do on the AT, what's best for me. I'm also putting together some recipes that are easy and cheap and light. I don't know why stir fries come to mind, but I mean, they're kind of the best of all worlds. But anyways, guys, so that's it. This is, these are my thoughts on different stove systems and where I am, what I'm thinking about, and I hope you find some of this information useful. Thank you.